think we have to have a good candidate, and I think we have to have a good message. We're not going to be able to beat him. If we nominate somebody who's just not as liberal as he is, and we put one Democrat against another Democrat, the Democrat's going to win. They win every time. If we pick someone like Rob Simmons is no different, by and large, than Blumenthal. He's not much different than any of the other Republican senators who are already there. They know what to say to get elected, and then the minute they get the nomination, then they're going to run to the middle again, and they're going to try to be just a little bit less liberal than Blumenthal. The strategy's not going to work, and it's just going to be one career politician against another. It's not going to energize anybody. No one's going to say, gee, let's send this guy to Congress. He's really going to make a difference. He was there for 6 years. What did he do? Did he do anything different? Did he try to put a stop to it then? Why would he do it now? And again, I don't know, if we nominate Linda McMahon, I don't know I think she's running because she wants to be a senator, not because she really is going to change Washington. Not that I don't think she even appreciates exactly what's wrong. I think she wants to be a senator, and she thinks if she spends enough money, she might be able to be one. That might have been the case when she was running against Don. I don't think it's going to work against Blumenthal. She's going to have real substance behind her message, and I don't think it's there. But I think it's there with me, and I think a lot of people are going to work hard to help me get elected all around the country. I am going to motivate people from around the country because they care about what I stand for. I get emails from young people, not only all around the country, but all around the world. High school students in Asia and Europe. When I go to other countries and speak, I spoke in Poland not too long ago. I was on an economic panel, and the guy to my left was a Nobel Prize winning economist. He didn't get any applause. I got all the applause out of a Polish audience. And when I got applause is when I was criticizing the bailouts, when I was criticizing the stimulus, and when I was talking about free markets. That's when they applauded me. This is a formerly communist country. And when I was in a car and a woman was driving me to the event, and we were talking about, because they had paid me an honorarium to speak, and I didn't charge as much because I knew they didn't have as much. But when I told her how much tax I would have to pay on it, she couldn't believe that the taxes were so high here, because they're a lot lower in Poland. We're taxing our citizens and regulating our citizens more than in a former communist country. And I think the reason that so many people in Poland appreciate capitalism is because they lived under communism. They know how bad it is. I hope Americans don't figure that out for themselves, because they might. But there are a lot of people who are going to care about my election. There will be thousands of people from around the country and in the state that will work hard and that will try to get me elected. And I'm going to speak to people and motivate them and give people a real choice between the ideology of Blumenthal and the ideology of the free markets, of what made this country great versus what's helping to destroy it. And I think that contrast is going to be powerful, particularly as the economy gets worse, which I know it will. And I think President Obama will be less popular in November than he is today. And I think Blumenthal's popularity is going to fall with it. And I think as more people start to appreciate who he is and what he's done, and contrast my experience. I started from nothing. I built my business from zero. And I built up a substantial company. Putting my clients' interests first. And I think people will appreciate it. Say, look what he's done. I'll do the same thing with the voters or the citizens as I did with my clients. All he's done is work for government. He has money because he was born into money. He married a wealthy woman. That's all he's got. That's where he got his status. He hasn't achieved anything other than being elected to public office.
I just was going to point out that the people that are going to elect you and get you there are the people in Connecticut. And I haven't heard you say one word about Connecticut and the people who will be voting for you. I understand the global philosophy, and I understand, maybe you'll get a worldwide type audience, but none of those people are going to vote for it.
Well, the people in Connecticut are Americans, and they're suffering, like all the other Americans, from the policies of Washington, from the policies of the Federal Reserve, from the policies of Congress that are undermining our economy. Look at all the industry that Connecticut used to have. Look at that is no longer here.
Right.
Those businesses are gone because of regulations and taxes coming out of Washington. We need those industries back, but we're not going to get them back unless we remove the regulations and the taxes that destroyed them in the first place. So that's what I want to do. I want to go to Washington and free up the Connecticut economy, so that we can grow and prosper. Right now we can't. We're suffocating under the regulations and taxes from Washington. And if we continue on this path, it's only going to get worse, because the government's going to keep getting bigger and bigger, which means it's going to require more taxes to survive. It's going to put more regulations on businesses. And right now there's what, 8-9% of Connecticut is unemployed. It can go to 12%, it can go to 15%, it can go to 20%. But so I'm speaking to people in Connecticut the same way I speak to the whole country. We're all in this together. And there's nothing I can do just for Connecticut. Whatever I do is going to benefit every American, because I want to shrink government and and get our fiscal house in order, get sound monetary policy so that we can all benefit.
I understand that. What I'm struggling with is the state of Connecticut is sinking faster than the United States, in my opinion.
Well, we've got more.
I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to take. You're talking about 2011, and maybe it'll be shorter, maybe it'll be longer. But I don't think the government we have here in this state has. I mean, you don't think that
They don't. They've got it wrong. Look, if I was,
with maybe one exception, I don't think our state legislature has a clue.
No, look, if I was in Congress, right? If I was in Congress and the state of Connecticut, and I was a senator from Connecticut, and the state of Connecticut tried to get a bailout from the government and said, I would vote against it. I don't want the U.S. government bailing out the state of Connecticut to prevent them from making the budget cuts that they need to make. I don't want to give them a get out of jail free card. The state of Connecticut needs to shrink. We have too many people on the state payrolls. They need to eliminate, and we need to cut regulation and taxes. There's so much fat and pork in the state budget. But when I first came here, and it's not even like, it wasn't a big deal, but when I first came here from California, I could have set up in New York, I could have set up in New Jersey. The thing that attracted me to Connecticut was that the marginal rate of income tax was lower. And I said, okay, it's going to save me quite a bit of money. So and I had some roots here. I was born here. I like the state, but ultimately there was a benefit to me because the taxes were lower. If we raise the taxes, that's not going to happen. Businesses might leave. I mean, I have, if I decide to leave, let's say I don't become the senator, and you keep raising taxes, I got an office in Palm Beach, Florida. What if I decide to move to Florida? Not only does the state of Connecticut get zero income taxes from me, but a number of the people that I employ in Connecticut might lose their jobs, and I'll employ people in Florida instead. So if we want this state to be a powerful state with a lot of opportunity, we need a lot of entrepreneurs. We need businessmen in this state. We need to encourage people to move here from other states, and we need to empower the businesses that are here to grow and expand. And what does that? That's low taxes and minimal regulation that interferes with productivity. So, but a lot of that has to come from Hartford. They've got to do those things. But as a senator, I can at least stop undermining Connecticut from Washington. But we need to elect people in Hartford that'll stop doing the damage in the state of Connecticut as well. But there is a lot of damage that has been done over the years. And, it has to change. And if I was running for governor, all I would be talking about is these local Connecticut issues. But I'm running for senator, so I've got to put it in a broader scheme. And what I'm trying to do is on a national level, it will benefit Connecticut just like everybody else. But if you look at Connecticut, if you look at all the tax revenue that Connecticut sends to Washington, we only get maybe 70-something cents back on the dollar. There are a lot of states that actually get more from Washington than they send. So I don't want to go to Washington to try to lobby for some pork barrel spending. I want to go there to stop Washington from taking the money out of the state in the first place. So that if there are problems, the state can handle them. And if there's something that the government needs to spend money on, let it be the state government, not the federal government. Why do we have to send our money to Washington to get it back to Connecticut? Just leave it in Connecticut the whole time. Because when we send it to Washington, by the time it makes the round trip, it's not there anymore. A lot of it is gone. Any other questions? Anyway, look, thanks everybody for taking the time to listen to me. I got a website. If you want to go to it and check it out, it's schiffforsenate.com. And there's a lot of information there. I said if you go to the YouTube and just type in Peter Schiff or under Google, you can read, you can spend, the rest of the year reading stuff I wrote going back to 2002, 2003, watching these TV appearances. And watch that, if you can, watch that mortgage banker speech. That's a really good one. Peter Schiff, Mortgage Bankers. And watch the video, Peter Schiff Was Right. That's the one that was seen by 1.6 million people. You'll get a kick out of it. And if anybody wants to donate to the campaign or volunteer, you can do that on the website. And my headquarters are up in in Milford. Anyway, thanks everybody.
Okay.